go alone. Be brave. So anyhow, I did that 4 times, and believe me, I had so many adventures. And, wow. And in my book, wish I'd brought my book. I could have handed it out to you. But if you all come to the house, I'll give you a poster and a book. Yeah. So anyhow, and I don't tell half the adventures in my book. I just sort of.
But you have to tell the Tarragon one.
Oh, all right. Well, after sending my brochure, I was invited to come to meet with her, and I handed her my brochure, and she said, and she showed me the portraits that were done of her, which were perfectly awful. And I said I could do much better than that. She said, all right, I'll commission you. So when I went, it was not exactly ideal. We were in a great big square room about twice this size, and around the walls were streams of people, 3 deep, all coming up to talk to her. And so she'd give me 15 minutes and them 15 minutes. And it was not easy at all, because you try to get her back in the same position and so forth. But anyway, I started painting and did the best I could, and I stepped forward to lean over my palette, which was full of wet paint, as you can imagine. All of a sudden, oh, I forgot to tell you, I wore a sari, because she always loved people around her to wear saris. And of course, nobody had told me how to put the darn thing on. I knew you had 7 folds in the front, and then you flipped it over your shoulder. So I got that. So first thing I do, I lean over my palette, and this thing falls off, right in my page. And while she's sitting there, and so I scrape it off, and she kind of frowns, you're not very happy with me. And then I paint a little bit more, and I stepped back, and I stepped on the sari, and the whole damn thing fell. 7 yards of silk fell to the floor. And here I was in my bra and pants. All I had, and all these people in the room. I thought I'd die. And I picked it up as fast as I could, and she said, my dear, don't you know you need a safety pin with that? How did I know, And so she reached in and took off her safety pin and gave it to me. So I pinned myself in. So at least I stayed together, and then kept on painting. And that, I really did a nice portrait of her, I have to say. And that portrait was one that she liked a lot. And she put it over, I understand, in her home, right over the fireplace. And remember what happened to her? That one of her own people who guarded her killed her. And that day, I was in touch with one of the people that worked for her, the Prime Minister's wife. And I called her right the day after. I said, my God, what's happened to her? And she said, well, they've taken her body away. They've stripped the house, including your portrait. They took your portrait of her. And so this day, I don't know what happened to her. But it's amazing that people think that portraits are real images. They're entities almost. And sometimes they're just ripped off the wall because people don't want to see them like statues or something. But anyhow, I know where most of mine are, and if I ever hear they're in a basement, they've never been relegated to a basement, as far as I know. People, once they're painted, they like to have it up. Especially mine, because I'm kind to people. And I don't fake it, how they look. They look, I have to say, they look exactly like the people I paint, but I get really good lighting. How many people are here are painters? Are you all painters? And how many do portraits? There. Well, let me tell you that from my experience, that you can make people look 100% better with good lighting. And it can't be a harsh side light unless it's a man and he doesn't care if his wrinkles show. But otherwise, a low light, not eye level, a low light, about 3/4 over. So you have a little dark shadow here on the side, but not too much. It shouldn't go too far. And the thing about Rembrandt lighting, you know, where you get one sparkle in the eye over here and it's all lit up here, forget it. Yeah, it's too hard on a face. You could do it on a man maybe, but on a woman, 3/4 lighting is much kinder. And they'll keep their painting up if they look good. And if they look like hell, that painting's going to disappear. So I just want you to look. And I'm not telling you to flatter in any way at all, but just keep moving that light until you eliminate as many lines as you can and make them look good. Why not? They want their children to think they look good, or their grandchildren and stuff. So I've had years of experience with it and enjoyed portrait painting so much. It's really fun. And it's really, there's certain artists who are good portrait painters, and they're the ones that can discern distances. If they can figure out how wide the distance is between the eyes and the length of the nose and exactly where the mouth is. The mouth is the tough part because it's always moving. Make your sitter shut up. You possibly can't. I know that I had a sitter once who was always on the phone. He was a man in his riding outfit, very proud of himself. And he was either, you know, getting on the phone or moving around. He was impossible. And so finally I said, tell me, what do you drink? And he said, I only drink gin on the rocks. So I got a bottle of gin in a glass, and I said, here, you just pour gin as you want it. Please sit still for me. So, oh, he was just like a cooing dove. He was so sweet. He just sat there and kept drinking that gin. And so I got a I thought a nice portrait of him. And lo and behold, after it was finished, I always ask the nearest and dearest to the person that I'm painting to come and check it out in my studio. And for a reason, because they're the ones that's going to be most critical. And if a person comes to your house, they won't criticize your clothes, your house, your style. But if they see your portrait, by God, you're in for it. You know, they're going to tell you what they think of it. So if you get the closest ones to them to like it, then their friends will like it. And I always, and there, when they're looking at the portrait, and I remember this one woman, the wife of the guy who loved Gin on the Rocks, and she stood back and she looked at it and she said, you know, that's my Ferdy. But I can't understand how you got that darling little dimple on the side of his mouth that he only gets when he's really plastered. It's really true, I mean it. So you never know what you're catching, you know, it's so strange. I'll tell you. So I remember a little 16-year-old girl who I was painting her, and she seemed very discontent with the painting. And it worried me because I knew that she'd never like it in her whole lifetime. And I said, can you tell me if you were going to finish this painting, what you would do? And she said, yes, right there. I have a little mole right there that you missed. And so I put a little dot there, and she said, now, the painting is perfect. Now, isn't it odd that one little thing will spoil someone's concept of whether it looks like you or not? But I've spent, since I was 14 years old, I've been painting portraits and finding that it binds me to the people somehow. It's like I've given them a baby and they darn well better take care of it. And I always want to know where my babies are. And I've never found that one's ever gone to the basement or the attic yet. If I do, I'm going to go buy it back. But anyway, is there any question you'd like to ask me about this wonderful club coming here?
I would like to ask you, how old were you when you came to the Scarab Club for the first time?
When I joined it?
Yes. When you started painting here? Yes,
I should think about 25. That was pretty young. Because I needed a studio. I didn't have one at home. And it was just a God-given thing. And I heard that one of the people had given up a studio here. And when I applied for it, they couldn't say no, although they desperately wanted to. They hated having me there. But anyway.
Well, there wasn't a waiting list like there is now?
Yeah, I mean, it just must have been that there was no one on the waiting list.
Wow.
It is odd, but
It's like it was meant to be.
the thing is, I think I knew the person who gave it up, and I think I caught it right away before everybody found out about it. Yeah. Imagine there's a waiting list. Hooray! Isn't that great? Oh, good.
Thank you so much, Patricia. We've learned the importance of proper lighting. I think I'm going to carry my own lighting everywhere I go. Now we've learned the importance of plying people with liquor.
Yeah.
And we've learned how fabulous Patricia Hill Burnett is. What a wonderful, what a remarkable.
Thank you.